I know what that looks like.
What administrative workload, work mode?
Work mode. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got a closing today too.
Congratulations.
Yeah, for older lady, she's
Mm-hmm.
uh gonna be getting a 3-bedroom bungalow that her son and her daughter-in-law helped her get. So she's excited.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up. It's
Um,
interesting. At this microloan conference, one of the executives from Comerica was talking about how the housing market is. I mean, he didn't say it was coming to a screeching halt, but he was basically talking about it's bad news, right? So he shared a bunch of statistics about how, and we all know this. I mean, how there's more inventory. I mean, there's less inventory than there is demand. So as a result, people are not so gung ho to sell. And interest rates are kind of funky, especially people who bought homes over the last several years. It's not all that attractive to buy a home right now. And so they asked for Q&A, and I stood up and I asked them, I'm like, but what about the investors? You know, you offered all these statistics, um, and I imagine a lot of stuff was applicable to first-time home buyers. I
mhm.
was like, man, I can't speak to what's going on macro. Maybe I'm an anomaly, but I don't think it's the case. But I got plenty of work. I have plenty of work. Um, and so I asked the question. I just wanted to hear his response. Um, but I just firmly believe that if you are an investor or a wholesaler, um, this market ain't slowing down. Not one bit. It's not slowing down at all. I don't see it. Not with all the people I know who are calling me from all over the United States talking about relocating back to Detroit. I have appointments with 3 people next week, not even on some real estate, just on some business development, catching up, what we're going to do to, get to the bag, make an impact to the community. And 3 of them are from out of state, relocating back,
Mhm.
buying homes. So,
Well, I mean, like you just said, it depends on your individual situation too. You know what I mean? Like,
mhm.
I think that a lot of people are, it depends on your socioeconomic too. But if you're like an entrepreneur, and you are in pivot mode, or you know what I mean, like that's always your thought process. You're not really going to be turned off by what's going on. You're going to just be ready for the ebb and flow of it all. You know,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I think that's what um, makes it kind of different for people in that operating in that space,
Hmm.
just makes it different for them. But I do think that there's a lot of uncertainty with jobs, the government, all of
Yeah.
that definitely playing a role. Even for people who have to buy or have to sell, because like even in my subdivision, there's like maybe 5 or 6 houses for sale on the market. Um, so people are definitely selling, and
Hmm.
they're,
Hmm.
the way that they're priced too, they're priced below the appraised value too.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That means reality and slapped them upside the head.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
Hmm.
definitely. So,
Hmm.
or maybe just circumstances,
True.
change,
True
uh,
that.
because we do have all of those layoffs and things like that. And maybe they just are downsizing, they don't really want to continue to pay,
Hmm.
because it could definitely be expensive, you
Yeah.
know. So, yeah.
Yeah. So since our talk Wednesday at the luncheon, I have been getting all these videos. I swear they listen to everything. I'm getting all these videos in the feed about people talking about how to pivot, what to do. Like if you're in a situation where you were relying upon those benefits, what your next move should be, right?
Hmm.
Whether you believe this shutdown is going to last for the next 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months. I firmly believe that when the shutdown ends, I don't think there was anything like, I don't believe in coincidences. I really do believe that the powers that be are angling to cut back on these benefits permanently. They're not going to completely remove everything, but I think this was like the test.
Yeah, like a test run. Hmm.
Yeah,
I
yeah, I
mean, like you
believe
said,
things are going to be dramatically different.
yeah, you can't totally cut them all off just because there are certain people who really need them, like people who are disabled and, those kind of things we were talking about on Wednesday. People who definitely, are in real need.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a test run to see how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't think that a lot of people are really thinking about the long-term effect of it either. I think that a lot of people are thinking that it's going to blow over and be business as usual in a couple weeks. And that's
Mm-hmm.
just not the case. Because even was that last year or the year before when they laid off and all those government employees? I
Mm-hmm.
know quite a few people who were affected by that.
Yeah.
And some of the ladies actually had real estate sales licenses and were thinking about, getting into, that lane. But from my standpoint, like just as an outsider looking in, I think for somebody who's coming from a 9 to 5 background to pivot into the role of an entrepreneur where you have to kill what you eat literally.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a skill set you have to develop, and it's very difficult for someone who, especially someone older, who's been
Mm-hmm.
in corporate America or in, kind of like a holding pattern, going to an office in an office environment, used to a more structured environment to just hop out on their own and be like, okay, now I'm going to do sales or now I'm going to do insurance or now I'm going to be, just an entrepreneur, period. I think it's very hard for people to shift if you don't have the right tools in your toolbox to do so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? Let me say this too before we even begin. Look, if you are mentally or physically disabled, you just don't have the capacity to work a certain type of pace, a certain type of way. Um, if you are in a situation where you're just incapacitated, um, for real, because we know some people who are out here faking it. Like I know a lot of people who played the game to get these benefits, and they jump a rope up and down the street. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But for those individuals where it's real, I think a lot what we're going to talk about today is not really applicable to you. And I truly empathize with the situation you may be going through. Because I just can't imagine. And I'm so grateful and thankful. Um, and I'm also very empathetic for that reason as well. I know that
Absolutely.
my health is not something
Yourself?
I quote unquote. I mean, a lot of times it is luck, man.
I agree.
Family you're born into,
Yeah. Health is
random car
wealth.
accident. Yeah,
Yeah,
a random car accident happens. Things can change real quick. So
absolutely.
I wanted to get that out there, right? Um, but one of the things I talked about yesterday, and for me, I don't know, entrepreneurs is a different conversation that we need to have with entrepreneurs as well. But if you're not an entrepreneur and you're one of those individuals that you're able-bodied, right? And whether you're working a job paying you $12 an hour or whether or not you're working a job paying $30 an hour, one of the questions that was asked of me is whether or not everyone can do entrepreneurship. And I don't think everyone can do it on a really high level, right? Where you're elite as an entrepreneur once you start earning six figures plus. And I think it's important to keep that in perspective that most entrepreneurs, most small business owners are not paying themselves 100, 250, 500,000. You listen to these, social media exposés and people out here popping their collar, and it's tempting to think that something's wrong with you, or you're malfunctioning because you're not knocking down $1 million a year. You need to understand that most entrepreneurs are not living like that, right? So that's number one. But number two, the primary reason why I firmly believe, particularly people coming from corporate America, and I can speak to this because that was the space I operated in for a period of time. It's not that you can't do it, is that you get in your own way. What I share with the group was that the primary reason why a lot of people who have a lot of talent, a lot of skill stacks, a lot of capacity, ability, is you care too much what other people think. That I firmly believe that is the primary reason why individuals fail out the gate. They spend too much time getting stuck in paralysis by analysis. They spend too much time caring about how their circle is going to think about them. They spend too much time caring about how their family's going to think about them, how their peers are going to think about them. And it's funny, like I'm just thinking about a good friend of mine where he decided to launch his entrepreneur journey because stuff got tight. Started going through a situation. And I remember he and I would argue because he was always asking other people around him about their opinion about the different business endeavors he was involved in. And I said, bro, that's the kiss of death. Why do you even care? Like the only people you should care about are the people you serving, right? Is there a population of people out there that are desirous of what it is that you offer and meeting their needs? Or if you're going to have a conversation with someone, have a conversation with someone who's done it. You should be asking, at least at the very least, ask another entrepreneur, not a part-time entrepreneur, not somebody calling themselves an entrepreneur and they really have a job that's supporting everything. I mean, somebody that got it out the dirt, got it out the mud, right? If you're going to ask someone about not necessarily even whether or not your thing is viable, because if they don't specialize in your industry or the product or service you're offering, that can be problematic too. But ask them what it takes to get the business off the ground, right? And I watched him struggle for like now going on 3 years, and he finally got that feeling in his gut that those of us who do this all have. There are days where you just don't give a F. Like I just don't care. Like I don't care. I don't care about your socioeconomic status, because you can be winning and sitting on the curb tomorrow. So I don't care. I don't
Absolutely.
care about your political affiliations. I don't care about the zip code you live in, the family you were born in. I don't care about your ethnicity. I don't care about any of that. The bottom line is there are days where you can get it. If you're within 5 feet of me and we make eye contact, you can get it, right? You can get this pic. You're gonna get this introduction. You know what I mean? And I think that's what I think is where a lot of people fail. Like if you are, because here's the thing, and I want people to understand this. I'm not talking from academically. Like there have been 3 times in my entrepreneur journey where I've been on my knuckles. The most recent coming out the divorce, right? Where I didn't have clothes. My credit was getting destroyed because of the other party and some dumb mistakes I made as well. Um, I didn't have an address, not a permanent one to call home. I wasn't out on the street. That ain't gonna happen because I
Right.
always have to make sure I have, even if it's 3, 4 months, I'm gonna make 6. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna make sure I always have a roof over my head for my kids because I can live out of a brown bag, but I ain't gonna put my kids through some terrible situation, right?
Right.
Um, but I just need people need to understand that. Like I'm speaking from experience, right? And I'm thinking about the benefits that people are receiving because I don't know because I haven't been about that life, right? As
Right.
an adult, but from what I understand, these benefits that people have been receiving amount to somewhere between $275 and like $400. So when I've been going online doing research, I've been going online, even listening to other people's testimonies. That the average Joe, at least from what I've been able to ascertain, they're getting $375, $400. I've heard some people say they're receiving like $250 or $275 in benefits per month. And I'll be frank, I was listening to that and I was like, man, do you you know how many ways I can think of to earn just $300 in a day? And look, it's across the gamut. Nothing illegal. Maybe maybe you walk that gray area all the
Well,
way
I
to
mean, yeah, the
legit.
first thing that I thought of was a gray area activity like panhandling at the gas station.
Oh, I
Like,
was thinking about some other stuff. There's some other
yeah.
things you could do.
I mean, no, I'm just
There's
saying,
some people, yeah,
like asking people at the gas station, like,
yeah.
hey, I'm kind of doing bad. Can you, help me out? Whatever.
Man,
But
look.
I mean, but you know what? It's a mindset too.
Yeah,
It really is a mindset because you're far removed from it. You, like you said the last time, oh, I don't even know how to like go about trying to get the benefits. Now I
yeah.
do because
But hold on, it wasn't too far ago. I was going through the BS.com.
of course, yeah.
But I still, the first thing that went through my mind wasn't to go to apply for benefits. I never thought about applying for unemployment. I never thought about applying for SNAP. I never thought about applying for any type of government, state, county assistance.
And you never would because it's a mindset.
And because number one, it's not enough.
Agreed.
I mean, it's not enough. So you're going to get yourself trapped into a situation. And once again, it's not to be empathetic, but we are hoping this talk for the person that's drawing the line and saying, I said, I'm not getting caught up in this trap. I deserve better. My family deserves better. I have children. I got to respond. No, no, no. 375 a month is not enough for me to stand pat and wait for something to happen. $2,000 a month and some type of government aid or income, that's not enough. Like the hoops you have to jump through to get approved for these benefits, quite frankly, is more time consuming than going out and doing what you got to do to earn the money. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
focusing on an income generating activity as opposed
yeah,
to through this bureaucratic circle jerk of all this paperwork. And it
yeah,
is paperwork intensive because
yeah.
I have people who I'm mentoring and people who are close to me that are involved in getting those kind of services. And it's a frustrating process for them because a
Yeah.
lot of times it's set up to make you fail. And even somebody who really and truly needs the benefits, like a single mom with 3 kids, they make you go through so much where, you're just like, okay, so like, is this a joke? Like, what is going on here? Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's definitely it's not really worth it. But when you're in that hot seat and you got it, you're like, like I said, single mom, 3 kids, you're the only person bringing income into your household. Those benefits do help, those kind of people.
Well,
Definitely,
look,
count on that. And, I think it's terrible, but at the same time, I think, like you said, you can pivot and you can think of a different way to replace um that.
so you're a single mom sitting at home, 3 kids, and you're reluctant to acquire a job because then you don't have the money to take the kids to daycare. And let's say you don't have friends, you don't have family. Man, one of the first things I'm thinking about is calling up everybody I know with kids and being like, hey, is daycare expenses? Like, are things tight because of daycare expenses? You know, it's the daycare um, providing an optimal experience. Man, bring them kids over here. They'll get 2 warm meals. I will make sure they're not sitting down watching television all day. I will provide educational programming. I'll provide textbooks. We'll do the most. So you can't afford the 275 um, a week at the daycare or the 200, right? Bring them kids over here. You get 10 kids at your residence. You're charging $50 per kid. It's $250. straight up. I would move the furniture. I would move. I'd reallocate. I would move everything around and provide a space to do that. I'm not saying everybody should do that, but that's just one of the things that I'm thinking about.
That's
Right?
just one idea, one
Yeah.
generating activity that you could
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
You know, business owners. I'm one of them. I need content. I don't have time. Even after we're done recording this, I have 3 appointments back to back to back to back to back. And it's going to be hectic until later on. I don't even have time to process the little bit of content that I do. Man, you got a phone. If you have, assuming you have a vehicle, man, I'll jump in my vehicle, knock knock. I know you don't have $2,000-3,000 to pay a content creator, but let's have a conversation right quick. Give me your phone. Let's take this stand and turn it around. Let's talk about a quick script that we can put together to help promote your business. And I will record that content. I will post that content. I'll distribute that content. You don't have to pay me 2 to 3,000. How about you just pay me 200, 300 a month? Now, I know some people are gasping, but look, if somebody was willing to do that, I might think twice about it. I might think twice about it. You get 10, 20 people per month who are willing to do that. Once again, you're not going to get rich quick. It's not going to be some situation where you live high on the hog. But you can earn an income doing that. You can't convince me otherwise. Even sitting here in Royal Oak right now, I know if I was on my knuckles, I would jump in my vehicle with my iPad or my iPhone, and I would knock on every single door and say, "Hey, can can I, let's test drive this," right? I have several clients up and down this area where I'm at now, and I know they would jump at it. If I sent someone of them that was willing to charge them 300 for them to take their phone out, record content, distribute it for them, get on CapCut or whatever it is you use, Canva, and just add a little something to it and start posting it like 3 times a week, please, they jump at that, right? Um, or if you got a couple dollars you can spare, I mean, let's just be real. Even what we do with our direct selling company, right? You pay $99 one time. And now I'm talking about what I did, right? I didn't have internet access. I knew I needed to earn $75 a day. If I didn't earn $75 a day, I was going to be homeless because I was paying week to week, month to month, right? In my situation, following my divorce, where I was on my knuckles. So that was the situation. And I remember I was getting up at 5 a.m. and I was on LinkedIn for 2 to 3 hours straight. 2 to 3 hours straight, just inviting people to learn what it is that I do. And the majority of people said no. The majority of people disconnected from me, whatever you call it. You
Yeah.
cancel the connection request, right? But I didn't care. I didn't care.
Connection request, like,
Yeah,
block
yeah,
it, guys.
block it. I was getting blocked left and right. But you know what? I was still touching 100 people per day.
Right. The
And
mission being completed, no matter what.
yeah, no matter what,
Yeah.
100 people on LinkedIn was gonna get it, and that's exactly. And I knew after I did that per day, I'd probably get only 3 to 5 people who were like, "Okay, I'll give you a shot. Tell me more. Let's do a Zoom together." Right? And I was like, "Hot damn, that's all I need." Right? Then I would leave out the residence because at that point, I was using too much of my internet access on my phone because the residents didn't have internet. And I would literally walk to coffee shops. Because I gave up the vehicle too. I didn't fight over it. I was like, just take it. I don't even want to be bothered. It's a car note. I was like, I don't even want it in my life. Take the car. And I would walk to the local coffee shops. And on the way there, if there was a business, no soliciting, not interested. I didn't care. They all could get it. On a walk to the coffee shop, I knew I was going to walk for an hour, north, east, west, south. It didn't matter. Hour walk for every coffee shop that was in the area. On the way there, my name is Juwan Buford. I'm representative with ABC Company. You know, what I'm doing may or may not be for you, but I want you to know I'm a local representative, right? It was to the point where I forgot what store was it. It was some like Value World type situation, right? I remember I had a couple dollars scrubbed together. So I bought a couple pair of jeans, a couple pair of polo shirts, man. My jeans was getting worn out because I was wearing them every single day. Same jeans. Went and got some decent shoes. You know what I'm saying? A little $10, $20 shoes where your feet hurt after 3 hours walking in them. I didn't care. I had, bought myself a little inexpensive jacket so I didn't look like, make sure. Man, I didn't even have money for shaving cream. I used soap. Took soap, shaved myself up, right? If you look at some of my footage before the pandemic, I had hair. I got a fro for real. I cut it off because I couldn't afford the haircut. So I got it cut off, razor, with soap.
You did it yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You know how long it takes when your hair is that long, even after a haircut? Man, yeah. I got in that mirror, took it all down.
Oh, wow.
With a razor and soap. And then I would knock on doors. And they, I'm a representative of so-and-so company. And once again, majority of them weren't interested. I didn't need everyone to say they were interested. I just needed 1 to 2 people per day to say, okay, I'll give you a look. I'll at least listen to you. Then I would get to the coffee shop because the coffee shop had internet access. And what am I doing? Calling every. I didn't care. If you were a family member, you got to call. If you were a quote unquote friend, you got to call. If we knew each other just from Facebook and I had your number, you got to call. Everyone in the coffee shop, like certain coffee shops, people see I'm coming. And by then they knew my name because I'd already talked to all of them. Right. I mean, I was in your face. And I was introducing it to everybody. And I knew if I introduced what I did to about, if I could, to about, we're not counting LinkedIn, I was harassing 100 people, but just live people. If I knew if I was able to somehow touch 10 to 20 people live per day, it would create a situation where I would have 5 at-bats per day. 5 at-bats. All I needed was 2 yeses. 2 yeses, $400. Right? But let's say it was $200. Say I was just starting out. $200, which was $100 more than what I needed. So now I could go to the local Kroger's, which is what I did. I bought the same stuff, man. I bought some frozen vegetables, a piece of chicken that I could, put in a pot. It was a piece of chicken, frozen vegetables every single day without fail. Throwing some rice, and then if it was like I needed something special,
treat yourself.
treat myself.
Yep.
Man, I'd find some a coffee mocha, or I don't know, maybe buy a thing of sushi. I was feeling myself, so I got 3 yeses per day as opposed to 2. Man, straight up, and that's what it was. And once again, what I'm saying to individuals is this. I mean, I was walking around looking like spam. I was on some scrub stuff. No transportation, same clothing every single day, eating the same food every single day.
Yeah, but you were still neat and clean and presentable and look professional enough to present.
Enough to.
Yeah, and
right?
to get people to sign up. So
yeah. And I'm just saying, look, you can do it. Like, to be transparent with you, I'd probably lean more into the wholesaling because I'm walking the community. So I probably would have leaned more into the wholesaling. But the modus operandi wouldn't have changed. It would still be LinkedIn today. That's just my jam. Some people you might play better on Instagram. Some people you might play better on TikTok, whatever your jam is. My jam is LinkedIn. I would do the exact same thing. I would get up 2 hours straight, boom, hit it. Then I would just knock on doors, particularly business owners' doors. And first getting yelled out, I just don't care. Right. Um, yeah, I would do the exact same thing. I'd find a coffee shop that had internet access. Because obviously, if you on your knuckles, you can't pay for the best or top plan on your cell phone. And also you got to go where people are at. So people aren't going to be, in my living room. I got to go where there's people. Some,
Right.
I mean, it might be the mall. It might be a restaurant. Anywhere where there's people and there was internet access, I was going to put myself there. And I was going to talk to everybody. Talk to everybody. I was relentless. I didn't care what anyone thought. And hey, you know, just after 2 weeks of doing that, it's crazy to even think about it. After 2 weeks of doing that, I put myself at a point where I was earning more than 70% of the US population. And I wasn't even firing on all cylinders. Like it was bad news. You know what I mean? Like, um, and to be transparent with you, I mean, if let's say my children were with me every single day during that process, they will be coming with me. They will
Those
become,
lessons.
yeah, they will be coming with me, right? And you know what? There were days where they did come with me. And the business owners would see my kids. Oh, that's so cute. I'm like, man, I got you. You about to listen to me now. You see with my two kids, you feeling some kind of way. You want to support me? Let's go. Right. I didn't care. I straight up. I did not care. Um, and I'm just thinking about it. I mean, you have people who have, I mean, you got eBay. Once again, it's not my jam. It's not my jam, but I'm not above going to the bins. I wouldn't be above going to Salvation Army. I wouldn't be above buying things from discounted places, just cutting off my room. I ain't got to sleep on the bed. Get a blow up, sleep on that. Take the other side of the room, make sure the lighting's well, get them pictures in, post it. Wouldn't be above doing something like that. You know what I mean? Like people just, it's the pride. It's the pride. Like I shouldn't have to do this. Like if you're in a situation where your back is against the wall, you shouldn't be prideful about anything. There ain't nothing to be prideful for. Like, I don't know. Those are my thoughts. I've been talking for a minute, but
You've been given some good tips, and like you said, it was at a point where you were really, really financially down that you had that aggressive plan of action. So I think it's a good message for people who are maybe in a situation now where they're maybe struggling, and not everybody has the mindset to do it. Sometimes it doesn't dawn on a person like, oh, I could do this, this, and this, until they hear someone else talking about it. You know what I mean? So I think
mm,
that it's important to get the message out. We've all had to start over. I know I have. I've had to start over. Um, and at one point I lived with my brother and his first wife when I was going through a similar situation, a divorce, and I was financially in a pretty tight spot. Um but I still just kept going. I had different opportunities and I made it work, and then I got that bartending job, and that definitely was a game changer. That helped a lot.
mm,
Because that's a good job to have, because anything bartending, waitressing, you're going to be meeting people every day and talking to
yeah,
people every day. And
yep,
that's the beauty of that kind of a job. Is that, like you said, you have to go where the people are.
mm,
And then, some of the people I met when I bartended, they're still my friends to this day. Some of the girls I worked with, we're still friends to this day.
mm,
I talk to them. So I think for me, when I was, coming back from a bad spot, that job helped me to be able to put money aside, because I knew that I never wanted to just work for someone else. I always wanted to venture off into like real estate and doing different real estate entrepreneurial type endeavors. I always knew I wanted to do that. So I think that definitely helped me to be able to accomplish that goal. So it's
yeah,
about making sure that whatever opportunities are there for you as an individual, that you explore them. And hey, everything is not for everybody. Some things
Mhm.
you might try and you might be like, this isn't really for me. But when you're trying those different things, something may catch on and be like, oh, wow, this is really, something that I enjoy doing, something I like doing. I'm helping people, whatever the case may be. And then you hit pay dirt and you just keep it going. So I think
Yeah.
it's important for people to be having these kind of conversations and really be kind of like brainstorming about different things that they can do to put themselves in a more favorable situation. It could come from a very unlikely um, place. So an opportunity could present itself like you never even thought of it. Once you get into that mindset, like you definitely can't wait around for something that may or may not happen. You have to take action, you have to execute. And I think that's really what's important about this conversation is how you were saying you took action and you executed. You weren't waiting around for something to fall out the sky or change for you. Like, okay, this is my situation right now. I'm going to take action. I'm going to make a way out of no way. Like you said, you were on LinkedIn. And I agree, LinkedIn is a great tool because everyone on LinkedIn is serious. It's not like Facebook where you get like all this tabloid fodder and like,
Mm,
different things that are like just more fluff and
hmm
fancy, like you were talking about like the Instagram ballers that are like, hey, I'm on a yacht and I got,
hmm
blah 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 blah. Like it's not reality, a lot of it. It's not reality and it's not um really coming from a credible place. What I mean? Like anybody can say whatever they want on social media. You know what I mean? It's like it's just not real. Um,
Yeah.
so
Like
but on LinkedIn, people are serious. You
more
can see
serious.
they're more serious. It's more of a professional platform, and people are um I feel like more on a business tip as opposed to, like a lot of social media outlets where it's just a lot of fluff, tabloid fodder, and things that may or may not really be that beneficial,
Mhm.
depending on what it is you're being exposed to. Some of it's
And-
just not quality content.
Right. And I know what I'm getting ready to say is going to be a little bit controversial, but I don't care. I'm going to say it anyway. Because if you're on your knuckles, you don't have time to once again care about people's opinions, right? And I'm going to say this because obviously, if you listen to me, anyone's listened to me before, I tell people if you can monetize your passion, that's what you should do. Because if you're passionate about something, you'll go the extra mile. You'll sacrifice more. You'll stay enthusiastic long enough to have success that you're having. But if you're on your knuckles, once again, relying on these benefits, man, forget your passion. If it works, it works. Straight up, right? I'm not about to go out right now because I'm just not passionate about it and sell health supplements. I'm not going to do it, right? Because I don't have to. And I'm just not that passionate about health supplements. But I'm a healthy enough looking guy. I work out well enough. My physique, I don't look like trash, right? And look, if there was a health supplement company I could get excited about, or I would get excited about, I'd be calling up gym owners, harassing. I would literally open up the entire list on Yelp or whatever it is people use today to do these things. Pull up an entire listing, and guess what I'll be doing? Right? I'd be calling them up. I'd be harassing them, talking about affiliate relationships. Right? It would not matter whether or not, because that's the other thing too. I don't feel like it. I'm a pray about it and wait for it's right in my soul. You are earning 375 a month. You're earning 2,000. What are you talking about? How do you know the thing that you don't want to do is the thing that you've been praying for? Because I'm gonna tell you, and every entrepreneur will tell you this, that on your entrepreneurial journey, a lot of the things that you do, you don't want to do. You don't feel like it. Like
Oh, I agree.
you're not waking up. I don't wake up. Look, I do okay with what I'm doing now. And there are days where I wake up like, damn this, I don't feel like doing it today.
Yeah, I'm not in the mood.
I'm not in the mood. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Like you got to get out your feelings. This is not about how you feel. I don't care how you feel. I don't care about your opinion. I don't care about you waiting for some sign to come from the sky. The sign is your broke ass pockets. That's the sign. Okay. I don't care about you think you're a celebrity or you think you're an influencer. Obviously, you ain't influencing ish because of your pockets. I don't care if you have this vision about this t-shirt brand you're going to promote. I don't care. You have children, you have responsibilities. I don't care how you get it, long as it's legal. But you sitting up waiting for, number one, even if you find the thing that you're interested in, like success is not going to be found in your comfort zone. You're waiting for things to be comfortable for you. That's not where you find success. I can't remember the last time I had a comfortable day. But because I can't remember the last time I had a comfortable day, I'm not on some check to check, day to day. I'm not even month to month anymore. But I can go a couple months and not have to earn the money that's directly connected to me getting up. My businesses will pay whether I roll out of bed or not. But how do you get there? You get there by stacking the brick day by day. You
Being
get there.
consistent, being
You get
persistent.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what ends up
Execute.
happening too is people underestimate, people overestimate what you can get done in the short term and underestimate what you can get done in the long term, right? And there are no overnight success stories. You just learn about the people overnight. Because while you were doing whatever the hell you were doing, that person was grinding day in and day out. I know the activity that I'm doing today is not going to pay off tomorrow. The activity that I'm doing today is not going to pay off a week from now. Most of my payoff from the activity I'm doing today is not going to come until 3, 6 months down the line. The relationships I'm developing, that I developed over this past week, most of them aren't going to come to fruition for another month or two. And I'm pretty effective at my follow up and communicating the value prop. And I still know that. And you have to be patient enough to understand and stack the small wins over and over and over and over and over again. Give yourself time to cook, give yourself time for momentum, right? And for God's sakes, don't listen to people who share your problems. They don't have answers for you. If they did, they wouldn't share your problems. For
Right.
like, don't do it to yourself. You know,
Well, like you said, like the trauma bonding, like let's get out of
oh, you
let's
got,
get into the execution mode. Let's get into, okay, this is the issue. I need a solution. Let's be solution and goal orientated because, times are changing right now very rapidly
mm-hmm.
and they're not changing for the better. And so
No,
your attitude and your mindset is going to determine your latitude and what you're going to be able to accomplish. And if you don't have the right attitude and the right mindset, and you don't have the right environment for mental growth, personal development, then things are definitely not going to improve. You have to put yourself in the right situations with the right people with the right mindsets as well. You can't be around a bunch of people who are commiserating and like, oh, we're gonna bum rush the store and blah 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 because we're not getting whatever. That's counterproductive thought process. It's not going to get you anywhere. It's like jogging in place on a hamster wheel. It's not going to get you anywhere. Everybody else's goal and solution orientated problem solving and jogging around the track, not jogging in place. And that's what your mindset needs to be. And you need to surround yourself by people who have that kind of mindset, even if you don't feel like it, like you feel down. That's why you want to get in those circles so you can get built up
mm-hmm.
for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. I mean, yesterday, I'm using yesterday because the last 2 days, I was kind of in a space forced to operate within that ecosystem for 2 days. I made that commitment. But man, if I was sitting at a table or if I was talking to someone or if a group of people gravitated towards me or if I decided to put myself in other people's space, if anyone was talking about anything negative, I immediately turned around and went on about my business. I got up from the table. I got out of the space because you can't make smart, positive decisions when you are in a negative space. You can't. When you are literally like, your mind is inundated with the things you can't do and the things that you don't have, and you want to blame everyone around you. That's not a mindset to create solutions. Your creativity is blunted,
No,
right?
it's crippled and
Yeah,
stymied because you don't have the right synergy around you.
yeah.
And that's why like a lot of times, like even when we have our discussions, when we're having like our meetings, how I talked about like cutting certain people off, including
Mm,
people close to me. Um, it's for that reason. Like I can't allow somebody else's black cloud to poison my environment. I can't be around it. It's like makes me physically ill to be around
mm,
that kind of environment because I had a time in my life, and if you know, you know,
mm-hmm,
where I was around just completely negative environment for a very, very long time, negative people, negative environment. And so now that I'm in a more favorable position and I don't have to be around those kind of people, guess what? I'm not. And it's just that simple.
mm-hmm,
So, you know, it's garbage in equals garbage out. And if you don't want that kind of mindset, you have to put yourself in a more positive environment and you can't trauma bond with people and you know, get on the pity party, like, okay, this is what's happening, but you know, I have to do X, Y, and Z to move past it, you know, to get
mm-hmm.
along with everything what I'm doing, you know, that's just what it is. So
Yeah.
having the right mindset makes all the difference in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, and let me say this about that too. It is very rare, especially especially now, but even in the past. If I was moving on from a group or moving on from someone, I didn't have to hate. You don't hate on them. You know what I mean? Like I distance myself from people. I don't diss them. Like I'm not gonna because they're not. If they don't want to move at the pace I want to move at, fine. You don't want to play the game with the intensity that I play the game with, fine. You want to be on some BS.com, fine, fine. But I'm not going to diss you. I'm just going to distance myself from you
Right. That's called
because
being tactful and diplomatic.
yeah, that's how you go about. So I want to make sure people understand that part of the equation too. When you realize you need to move away or put space between you, family, and friends, or people who are familiar with you, don't diss them. Just invest your time in doing what you need to do, and just distance yourself. And most time, they'll get the message. And if they start hating on you, then you know they weren't for you anyway.
Yeah, I
You
mean, it
know?
doesn't have to be overt or blunt. It
Yeah,
could be very subtle. Like they're contacting you about X, Y, and Z, and you're just simply not available.
yeah.
It's never rude, disrespectful, or hurtful. It's always done from a place of uh love and a
Mm-hmm.
place of you know, wanting to be tactful and diplomatic at all times. Like
Mm-hmm.
never, I mean, there's no reason to burn bridges with people just because your, you know, viewpoints are not don't align.
Yeah.
We can
Now,
agree to disagree. It's just that simple. And not even
so
have to have a conversation about it. Like we're too grown to be having conversations sometimes about, you know, when people be like, oh, I want to, you know, figure it out. It's nothing to figure out. What's understood doesn't need to be explained. And
mhm,
that's just the bottom line. It's not even a conversation we need to have. We just, you know, have completely different viewpoints on this. And it's okay to respectfully agree to disagree and to not even open up that can of worms. It's not
mhm,
necessary because we're
mhm.
all grown. You know, people know what they're doing, you know. So
Now let's say you get a couple bucks. I said this yesterday in front of a room full of grown adults. I said this to them. I was like, you all think you winning because you earning 100K. You ain't winning. You ready to start up a new business, multiple streams of income. I was like, you ain't ready. You're not ready. You got people running around here, out here, 4 and 5 businesses. You can't break the 250K mark. You want to know why? Because you got 4 and 5 businesses all paying 20, 30, or 50 here. What's easier, building one business that will pay you over 100K or building 5? Because the income, the revenues are the same, but you're split 5 different ways, right? Look, when you start climbing out this hole, don't chase another shiny object. You develop some type of skill. You develop some type of ability at that point where you're generating income on a regular basis. But you're not elite yet. You're not crushing it. You need to keep doing whatever the hell it is you were doing once you start generating income on a consistent basis. You need to double down on that ferociously. Don't let some knucklehead run up on you talking about, and I mean, unless it's like so interwoven and related that it just makes sense, don't do it.
Right.
Don't do it. That's number one. Number two, don't get credit cards because you're going to be tempted to do it. You're going to be tempted to do it. You start earning some additional income. It's like, okay, all right, I can get myself a place to stay. Okay. Um, I'm earning because you'll get those phone calls when you start getting back on your feet. We all get them, right? The robocalls. Hey, go get this car, this high interest car, because you need to look good in a vehicle. People will do that. They'll start climbing themselves out the hole and they end up getting some car note, $500-600 a month. Have you lost your mind? No. You get yourself a tow down used vehicle. And if you can lease, there are places where you can lease BC class vehicles. Like there are places that you can lease vehicles for work. If that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. But don't get yourself a car note where you're paying an extra $500-600-700 per month because you want to feel good about yourself. Feel good about the accumulations taking place in your account. That you're not broken on your knuckles every single day, hand to mouth. Don't do that. You're gonna all of a sudden these credit card companies, since you got a little bit of income, they're gonna come at you and say, "Hey, um, get this credit card for $300-500." And I've seen people do it. And guess what? I made that error in judgment before in the past, right? Well, all of a sudden you got like 10 of these $500 credit cards, and you start spending the money on the credit cards to do the other things. And then what you don't realize is like debt is not bad. Debt can be a beautiful thing. But if you're using debt to pay for food, if you're using debt to pay for shoes, if you're using debt to go out to eat, if you're using debt to buy things where there's no ROI, that's bad debt. That's stupid debt. Don't do it. What you do instead with that extra money is you get yourself a secured credit card. You take the $200 or $500 you scrounged up, get yourself a secure credit card and start building your credit again. Me personally, what I did is I started setting up net 30 accounts, right? So Uline, I started buying stuff from Uline. I started buying stuff from Granger. I set up a Quill account. I found out what other companies that would report to Dun and Bradstreet that would allow me to set up net 30. And I wasn't spending $1,000 or $5,000 on stuff like that rack that people see sometimes when we're doing our talks, when we're doing our podcast. That rack, that black rack, is actually something I bought years ago, and it was on. I did it on Uline, and they gave me a net 30 account. And so the rack gets dropped off 3-5 days later. You got 30 days to pay it back, right? I started opening up these net 30 accounts because I wanted to build up my credit. So at some point when I was ready to make the investments I needed to make in back into my business, not back into my lifestyle to look good for other people, but back into my business, I had the capital to do so. When it was time to make a move, acquire an office, or get something that would really make a difference in my life in terms of my business, right? That's what you should be doing. Once you get to the point where, like I said before, you're just above survival, you're going to be tempted to blow the money. You're going to have a little bit of extra and you're going to want to reward yourself. Don't do it. Then, what ends up happening is Because if you're grinding really hard and you're doing something viable and that momentum starts to build, my experience has been for me and for most of the entrepreneurs I know who've had to like get it out the dirt, start from scratch. Sometimes it happens 3, 6 months into it, man, the money starts flowing. Like, cause you're getting good at what you're doing and people are paying attention to what you're doing. And you start to develop this momentum. So you may have a $5,000 payday. You may have a $10,000 payday. You may have a $30,000 payday. You're not winning yet. You're not winning. Don't do it. You're not winning. You are not winning until your business is doing this like clockwork.
Consistently.
Predictable. Now I'm just consistent. Like you can predict it. Based on this activity, this is what's going down. And until you get to that stage yet, look, I don't care what these people on social media are telling you, these little pamper parties these entrepreneurs are having, talking about treat yourself, talking about you got to get some good sleep and you got to start pampering yourself and putting on scented lotion and candles. Look, no, you don't deserve any of that until, look, I guess I'm the way I am now because once you've tasted the dirt, I ain't going back.
Neither am I.
And I'm not going to feel safe until I'm so secure in what I'm doing. Like I'm not going to take my foot off the pedal. I'm not going to take my foot off my haters' necks. I'm not going to stop until I've built the thing to the point where I'm like, okay, if the worst happens, we still good.
Absolutely.
Because I think that's the other thing too, particularly if you're coming out of corporate America. Like you don't know what we're talking about right now. You've been working in corporate America for 10, 15, 20 years. You don't know. But this is what I'll tell you, because you want to look down on people. Sometimes when you come from corporate America, you are closer to that broke guy or girl on the street that you're looking down to than you are to being a multimillionaire. You're closer to that, but you got more in common with that person that's homeless. You have way more in common with that person's homeless than a millionaire. I promise you that. You're only one mistake. You're only one bad accident, one bad incident. I've seen it. I've watched it. I've seen business owners be crushing it, eating today and on the curb tomorrow. And it wasn't even, I mean, some of them made dumb mistakes. Some of them were just, but I've seen it happen to people who are good people who, I can't tell you how many entrepreneurs I've dealt with over the last, especially over the last 10 years, health ailments, man, kidney failure, stroke, aneurysm, seizures,
cancer, heart transplants, all that stuff.
everything. Develop, what's that autoimmune deficiency? I've been hearing more and more about that for some reason. Yeah. People like adult lupus, like maybe they had, I don't know, but it showed up randomly in their adulthood.
MS too. MS is that affected a lot of people. Yeah.
Man, look, you can get down bad real quick.
Yeah.
That's the other reason why, because I know my health is not promised. I know tomorrow's not promised. It's not promised.
Yeah.
So you got to get it.
Yeah. You got to seize the day and make the most of it.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Hopefully some of this landed. I mean, you already know me. I could think of 5, 6 other, probably 100 other ways to earn money, right? I was sitting back thinking about it today. I'm really good with MailChimp. I know most of these business owners don't know what a CRM or a contact manager is. Man, I would go to these business owners. I'd be like, okay, here we go. These collision shop owners, even some of these people who are like auto brokers, right? Man, they ain't using contact managers. Oh shit. These people who have these salons. Barbers, they look tougher. They're a little tougher to crack because male barbers can be like super closed-minded and stubborn sometimes. They worse than attorneys and engineers. But even still, I would go to them and I would say, look, Let me install the CRM for you. Let me start using email campaigns, the text campaigns to contact the people on your phone, because I know you ain't been recording. Give me the phones of your salon stylists and your barbers. Let's create separate categories for them in a MailChimp CRM. Look, the CRM is only going to cost $100. But what we're going to do is I will set up the campaigns to drip on your people. And I'm almost certain that I can probably get you an additional 10 people per week through this shop. Right now, you do the math. How much does that work? If you're charging $20 times 10, that's extra 200 a week. If you have clients who are paying $50. For the collision shop owners, I mean, you get somebody to come in for a repair. If I can help you get an additional, you only need additional 10 clients per month for it to be worthwhile. Right. And
might get one client where you just hitting them over the head and it's worth it.
And you know what I mean? I'd be like,
Those
look,
auto shops, man, especially for people with used cars, it's typically a money pit.
Yeah, I'd be like, look, this is what we're gonna do. I need a couple bucks to get it started. I'm not even gonna hit your pockets. I'm gonna prove what I'm worth. But as a result of this business that comes through this CRM, I want a percent. So I need 15%. Well, I don't want to get, well, you can pay me up front or you give me my 15%. Well, I don't, well, you wouldn't have earned the extra $2, $3, $5,000. I wasn't here anyway. You have nothing to lose.
It takes money to make money.
Give me. I want. You're not even paying. Give me my 15% or whatever it is I bring in for you.
Right.
Right. And you can. I mean, I'm sitting here now. I can see several businesses I know I could run this with. Some of these restaurant owners where the people come in, they collect their information on the POS machine. Get these people, ask them for permission to join your whatever club or join your ever membership club. Ask their permission. Let me show you how to utilize the CRM to turn those people into repeat customers, turn those people into revenues, create referrals for you. Man, if that paid residual income, I'll say I'd run out the door right now and do it.
Yeah, it's just a mindset.
I'd run out the door and do it right now. I would actually do that. Matter of fact, this is what I'm going to do because I've had a mind to do this. And this is something I know I can train other people to do. I believe I am. I'm going to start, I'm just going to beta test this a little. I'm going to set aside a little slither of time and I'm going to start approaching business owners and asking them, hey, if I can show you a way to increase your revenues by an additional, let's say, even if it's just 25%, I want like 10, 15% of the increase. Because I want to see business owners win, but I can't do it for free. But these business owners are like sleeping on the data. They're sleeping on their contact list. They're sleeping on how important it is to stay in regular contact with the people who have spent their money with them, right? And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm like, you ain't gotta charge me anything up front. Let's make this happen. Let's make this happen. Like, man, don't even get me